was on TikTok the other day, and there was a content creator on there, and he had mentioned, when I was in my 20s and I was dating, women were wanting to get married and I wasn't ready. But now that I'm being more intentional, now they don't want to get married. They don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want me to be vulnerable. They're like, why can't we just go with the flow? I want to talk about what happens when men get what they have been giving. Listen, if you're new here, welcome to Heal the New Sexy, where we discuss all things healing, self-love, and relationships. My name is Cynthia. I am a licensed therapist. One of the things that I find funny sometimes, I don't know if it's funny, like ha funny, but like, is when people are outside doing outside things, and then when they come inside, they just expect for somebody to be ready and waiting and available to them. Especially, can I throw this out there? Especially Christian men, because this was a Christian man. And he said when he was younger, and that he met women and they were wives. He said he's dated fabulous women. And I watched the interview, right? I watched an interview of him speaking, and I watched how he described these relationships. I watched how he said there was one woman that he could have married her and he should have married her. That there was nothing wrong with these women. But now that he's trying to date at his age, it's like women are not wanting the same things that he wants. And it made me think, because when I was watching it, I almost commented, maybe you're reaping what you sowed. How is it that you messed over countless women and looked over countless women when you were younger, and now that you're older, now that you're being more intentional, all of a sudden God's supposed to say, okay, abracadabra, here's a wife. I think that we have to live with intention all of our life. Sorry if you guys hear that noise. We have to live with intention all of our life. And we have to also know that just because we make the decision to be intentional doesn't mean that that's the time in the season which God is going to bless us with the thing that we want or the person that we want. And what was alarming to me was the number of women in the comments about, so where he at, or I'll be vulnerable with him, I'll let him be vulnerable with me. What's wrong with these women? What's wrong with the women you date? And listen, what I hear you signing up for is a man who has a history of not being consistent, of not taking women seriously, of not being emotionally available, of putting his needs before women's needs. And you're saying, okay, I'll sign up. You've been practicing that for years. You haven't had a healthy relationship, but I'm going to sign up because you're wealthy and you look good. And you're saying the right things. Not realizing this is a plug and these interviews are for him to sell his book. So, and it's also like sometimes when I see content about women who are the second wife, and they're like, it's better to be a second wife because he learned all these things. He made all these mistakes with his first wife. And then they turn the comments off. Listen, can we be intentional about not damaging people? Can we be intentional about not hurting others? Why do you have to mess over someone else in order to get healthy? Why can't we be honest about what it is that we want? If you wanted a good time and not a long time, be honest with that. But the truth is, a lot of men, even some Christian men, are not honest about their intentions up front. And Christian women, especially church girls, grow up and are shaped to be marriage minded. So every time they meet a man, they're trying to figure out if this is their husband or not. And then they're being submissive and they're doing all of these things because they want to get married. And men know that. And unhealthy men take advantage of that. Unhealthy men know that women want to be married, and they play on that desire in order to get what they want. And we have to be mindful of that. So when you see a man out here talking about, it's just been hard for me. It's been hard. You need to be, whoa. Okay, well, tell me about your history. Tell me about the women that you dated. Forgive me. Tell me about the women that you dated before. Why did those relationships end? And listen to what he says. And hopefully he'll be honest. Hopefully he'll say, there were a few that I fumbled. Okay, why did you do that? Because you want to make sure that he don't fumble you too. Just because it sounds good, don't sign up for it. This man has a history history of not taking women seriously. And just because he woke up today and said, oh, okay, I decided to have true and honest partnership, doesn't mean that he has the skill for it. So you need to investigate that. What are you going to do differently now than you did before? How do I know for sure that you're going to take this relationship seriously compared to what you've done before? Because you've had wives before, but you fumbled them. So how do I know you're not going to do that with my heart? Versus being eager. The level of eagerness that I saw in the chat of women, where he at? Or I'm available, was alarming to me. He was able to sit there and to say, oh, I did all this in my past, but now I'm okay. So I'm ready. And you're okay. Well, I'm ready to. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. Nothing sells more than a single black man who has money. There's so many women wanting to be with that man, and you're not hearing what he said he put those other women through. Does that mean he'll do it to you? Absolutely not. Could he be changed? And yes, he can. But you know what you need to do? You need not to be trying to get in the way of God. Because sometimes God sits people down. Because listen, I need to talk to you about some things. You think God is not concerned with how this man treated his daughters? You think they ain't no coming to Jesus meeting about that? Listen, I sent wives in your way and you ignored them or you messed over them and you're wanting me to send you another. Listen, how many of my daughters am I going to let you mess over? Because then she got to go into healing. She's sitting in front of Cynthia crying and snotting. And then I got to send a man to her who got to deal with the scars that you put. Oh, what? And you want me to send you another one? And I done sent you 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8. I done sent you that many wives crossed your path. And you talk about, so, well, I'm ready. I'm being intentional now. The lady, I'm being intentional. God, like, if you no, you need to get at the end of the line. Because I got sons that's been faithful. Okay, I got sons that's been faithful. You go ahead, get in the back of the line and wait a little bit so that I can get these people together. And in your time of being in the back of the line and intentional with me, reading your word, being faithful over your flesh. Oh, being faithful over your flesh. Okay, then as you move up closer, then I can, sometimes men or women are in a process. Stop getting in the way of God processing people because you want a relationship, because you want to be married. You heard him talk about all the things that he did with these other women, where he didn't take them serious, where he wasn't vulnerable with them, where he messed over them because of the things that he had witnessed. And you, where he at? Where? No, ma'am. No. When you see a man reaping what he's sowing, get out the way. Get out the way. If he's having a vengeance is mine season where the Lord is dealing with him, move, girl. Get out the way. Come on now. And sometimes the nurturing, the spirit of a woman, we don't want to see a man hurting. So we'll get there. We'll get right in there with him. And no, he's reaping what he sowed. This may be a winning season for you, but you done connected yourself to the wrong man in the wrong season, and now you suffering too. No. If God whooping you, just like when we grew up, what happened? Your cousin got a whooping, what'd you do? You found some place to go sit down. Why? Because you didn't want none of that. Don't sign up for this. When you see a man reaping what he sowed, when you see a man getting what he used to give, is giving what it used to give, get out the way, sis. Get out the way. But thank you for watching the video. I want to hear from you. Be sure to comment, be sure to like, and also share. Because I know you got a girlfriend that in a situation like this, so be sure to share. This is Heal to Do Sexy. My name is Cynthia. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.